thank y'all. Y'all have such a really great energy tonight, and I wouldn't be able to feel as good as I do right now without it. I just want to thank y'all. Clap it up for yourselves, please. I really don't think y'all understand. I don't know, y'all probably just came out. Did y'all just come out the house like this? Like, I think I'm gonna feel good today. I love it. I love it. All right. But yeah, my phone be playing with me. Shout out to my phone. I got an iPhone now, y'all. It's been an experience. I mean, I don't know. Something changed in me, right? So all of a sudden, when time my friend calls me the Galaxy, I'm like, huh? What? I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't speak broke. It's like, no, that's not right. That's not right. So I'm still trying to humble myself with the iPhone, you feel me? But my pictures have been popping. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm like, what's up, Pixel? Oh, all right. Can I just be petty one more time?
Yes.
Petty you want.
It's your night.
Just a little bit. All right. I'm not going to be petty and tell you your hairline has a dent in it. I'm not going to be petty. Like you've been in a couple of accidents. Tell you stop walking around them fake Nike sweatshirts. I see you. Still buying for 4 meals. We can't pay for more bills. Always farting in the limb talking about, no, that's one of the dogs. Yeah, you're one of the dogs. See, that's something I would say if I was trying to be petty. Like you, Dad. When you told Mom about my middle school boyfriend, so I told her about your middle-aged girlfriends. I'll admit, that was bad. Probably would have stayed in the child's place if it wasn't crowded with all your peanut-shaped women's, man. Peanut-headed children's always talking to me like they not ruining family. Mecca, you smell lovely today, girl. You gotta tell me what you use. Try water. But honestly, what can I do when roasting be my favorite form of poetry and poetry? Be my favorite form of healing, and healing is something I can't flower because hate stays in my roots. I think I get it from my father. Like our relationship's so rocky because Papa was a rolling stone turned landslide. He got craters so wide, his face shady like a moon phase. His stomach swollen, swallowing apologies and spitting out commands, telling me he loved me, but don't take my hurt seriously. So I sit here and try to figure why his breath smell like a bad perm with all that lie. I told myself I shouldn't argue with him the way that I do. But this hate sleeps on my soul, it's embedded. I see Mom can never leave this ex-man, no wonder why my genes gray. Can't decide to be black or white about how I feel about him, that's why I hate bad men who are good fathers, who have daughters, because it don't matter what I say to hurt him, the only person that's roasting is me. I grew up hearing about Mom's suffering until they became my own. I've learned so much about heartbreak that it felt like the norm. He tells me to get over it, but to help me, he doesn't bother. If we never walk in the right direction, can I even say he's like a stepfather, see? I'm so scorned, you can't tell these are scabs or scales I'm dragging. So much pain, I feel like the window to all their arguments. Born to be the anger my mom doesn't want to feel. I've cried so much, my lungs look like rinse rags that can't wash away this rage from any other man. I'm so separated from your other kids, I can feel the half in our sibling vein. Don't have to tell their moms and themselves that they're enough. How do I get over it? Will you act like what you do to each other don't involve me? Will you forget about the baby and the baby mama? Will you look so much like your father you can get kicked out before he does? How this heaviness I feel is just me being your anchor to our home, and my just an excuse you can have one. I want nothing more than to have what we had, to go to dances and conferences, and I'm always your date when mama can't be. Not them. It just should have been me. You are so stupid to think that you are not my only friend in this world. To waste all this time and that's so petty of you. But I can't help to think what would really be petty is if you were gone before we could fix it all. One thing about that poem, when I first wrote it, I wanted to do it for my dad, like with an audience or whatever. You know, it's like, cause there's a cushion here. But one time he was arguing, I ended up having to do it for him in the car. And I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I poem sing to you. He's like, all right. Right? And so I read it to him and I'm crying. And it's like, my lungs hurting and all types of stuff. And I'm like, hey, and if we could say, oh, and then I'm done, right? And he looks at me, he's like, damn, you good. But I get it. And I was like, that's really all you have to say? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So, more about my family. This next poem that I'm going to do is in my book, Things to Unlearn. Oh my God, yeah, this is purple. Purple's my favorite color, yes. That's why I love your braids. Yeah, that's what this poem is. I don't have to sell bootleg Maya Angelou books anymore. I have my own book, and it's only $10. Only $10, yes. Okay. That's free plus $10. All right. When Grandma died, my uncle stopped smoking the grass she was buried beneath and became a scientist. Grew from herbologist to petrologist, he studies rocks and broken neighborhoods, crumbles them up like second chances. Found better use for razor than dissecting wrists and aligns them. Uses his body as microscope, sniffs. He was now a scientist, his tools, topperless. Probably the only things he ever kept up with, he burns. The silver spoons he wasn't born with, the weak flame in his spirits melted these golden nuggets. He got a little closer to heaven with each expedition. Scratches his observations in his arms, shoulders, neck. He couldn't stand to be without his notes. People scientists get his profession. He ain't care. Blowing so much snow, you become winter inside. Cold. Numb to his environment, nothing mattered as long as he could tell Mama he was somebody. The new rock of this family, a scientist. He's so excited, shaking so hard he discovered how man can move mountains of depression with his homemade earthquakes, get high and spread. But it wasn't enough to separate the pain of losing someone he had to get higher. But putting these minerals with medicinals didn't really bring him closer to a cure. It didn't really bring him closer to her. He just wanted to forget how much he felt himself, his mama, and every other job he tried. We all want that sometimes. To get back some time, pour its sands on your worst regrets and rewrite history on their shores. Well, we can't. Our mistakes either make us or break us down to the very grains of time we waste. With mine, I choose to create. I want to be architect building poems out of stones I get from rock bottom. Maybe face my faults. Why don't judge my uncle because I have so many and it's not his fault that I tried to bear my soul while he tries to erase his, because being in a drug fortress that forces you to choose between a rock and a heartache ain't always easy, especially when one dose can get rid of all the depression and one hit can knock out everything you hate about yourself, and just a little more dust can bring back lost angels to apologize for not being there the first time. That's the mistake that we both share. And I asked my uncle, why don't you just write about it, man? I mean, it always helps me. And he laughs, cause my uncle, he's not a writer, but he is a scientist and proved that it is illogical to define loss. You can only feel it. I believe that I want to do 3 more for y'all. If everybody's cool with that?
Definitely go with that.
Okay.
Definitely go with that.
Okay.
5 wrong.
You pop it.
Definitely for
Definitely go with that.
Oh, y'all silly. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This next piece is also in my book. Whew. So let me tell y'all how the Women's March tried to play me this year. They every year, so they have the march in March because Women's History Month and all this other stuff. So apparently, out of the blue, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have it in January." I'm like, no, they didn't tell anybody. And I feel like it's just really ridiculous to try and have movements when you don't have any discussion with the people around you. And it's like there's always somebody outside of your city, right, that's always trying to do work in your city but don't know anybody in your city. So it's like, what's the point, right? How are we gonna work together? How are we gonna build together if you're not gonna talk to nobody that's actually here and actually doing the work already? So I'm not trying to say it was me that's like I'm doing the work. It's like why did I have to find out about this just stumbling in on y'all meeting? It wasn't anywhere. So I inserted myself into it and I said, hey, if y'all are looking for performers, I want to perform because this piece that I'm about to do is actually inspired by the Women's March. And tell more about that after I finish it. If a penny saved was a black girl returned, would it be easier for you to pay attention to our gaps in evidence and aggravations? You can't find black girls because of doubt, but found Tom Brady's jersey because of all his clouts with black life. Don't hold presents unless it involves dead presidents if only we evolve past ignorance. What common sense is it? Treating our girls like common sense. Our mistreatment has been common since America started its great coin collection. These pretty pennies getting lost in couches, in mattresses, in streets, in alleys, in DC, in Baltimore, in Nigeria, 60 years ago, 200 years ago, and 1,000 more years to come, just slipping through the cracks of time. Y'all white women marched through DC streets searching for your independence, but in March, didn't want to put your hands in the draining work of activism, afraid to touch something dirtier than your intentions. Why haven't I gotten Amber Alerts for our black girls? Like Amaya don't want to come home either. Your movement is two-faced, and why I flip out, because me and those girls got the same face, and if they are runaways, it's because they're being mistreated and beaten at home, and won't be left alone because of the copper of their tone, and by their own they are sold because they are a few shades darker than gold. It boils my blood to the mineral. Now ain't it irony how most men curse black women's names before they say them, then trick their ways to lay with them. There is sex traffic in our cities, and these girls have been paying the tolls. Why must we choose through the different abuse? Sexual, emotional, or systematic America make it seem like we must choose the latter instead of use the latter to raise to a better solution. I pray this poem piping your children from the rats and try and kill them. I try to connect through our curl pattern, but there's only a price. Over their head, they hold on to my lungs at night, so I scream for them in the daylight. It seems these petty trifles end before you start this. Every seed is a disappearing act. My girl Sadia said black girl magic shouldn't work like that. So I put my 2 cents in to get our girls back. They falling deep underwater, and these cops only wish them well. They don't care if a black girl saved was a penny earned. We can give them the living they deserve. I want these hashtags, turn tic-tac-toe, crossing out where X marks the spot. Every time we find these treasures, burn through the cities until my embers alert screaming, where are they? Where are my black girls? Where is the change? Thank you. I'm gonna talk a little bit because people coming in or whatever. Y'all late? Say no, I'm sorry. I wrote that piece long after it was like, super popular to talk about missing black girls, because I feel like there's too many people that are trying to capitalize off of, things that are happening right now. And I feel like, to a degree you should, but also it's like, don't write just because it's popping off right now. Write because you want to say something about it, and that's what's driving you. And that's what I felt at the time, like, people were like, what happened was I already had the metaphor, I just didn't know how to talk about it. And I was like, what am I going to use this metaphor for? And then when that happened, I was like, there it is. That's what this piece was meant for. And I remember one time when I did this piece, a little black girl turned to the 2 white women behind her. She was like, ooh. Oh my God, I could not stop laughing. And I snort, so that's not a good thing. All right. Now, I've been cursing out white people this whole time. I'm like, it's only got a little bit of, okay, all right. It's fine, it'll be all right. Okay, yeah. You're stupid. I was told our lips ran in the family. From the sharp curl of our grin to those sharp curves that we give when disrespected, running our mouths, the only exercise we all could agree with. Lips large enough to give the biggest smiles for miles. Child, we focus towards space, and even God will catch it. Pat himself on the back for making it. My top lip he pulled from Appalachian Mountains to the bottom, where he turns over the horizon for these reasons. I was never ashamed to show them. Until one day